certainly is. Well, again, we are so glad to have you. We have a wonderful, wonderful group of actors with us tonight. And while they're all in their virtual dressing rooms, we're going to go ahead and put you on the spot if you don't mind, and wondered if we could ask you a few questions while we're getting everything prepped and ready to roll.
Well, when you preface it like that, how can I say no, right? I'll take the challenge.
All right, great. Super. Well, again, welcome aboard. And our first question for you this evening, can you tell us a little bit about your inspiration or motivation for writing this particular piece?
Yeah, absolutely. So as is pretty obvious from the title, this is a Christmas play. It's not, Christmas is a component of it, right? And so it's more of a universal story in which Christmas, the fact that it's Christmas Eve, plays a key role. And the reality is, I'm a sucker for all things Christmas. It's my favorite season. I love the music, I love the food, I love the family, and so I wanted to write a piece that really kind of brings all of those things together. There is a song from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Oh, you can't have Christmas without Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That's about a group of people hanging out in a bar. And this child shows up out of nowhere with a message for them. And that image has just always stuck with me. I mean, in my mind, I love to think about why would they be together in this bar on Christmas Eve? I figure you're there because you're trying to be with somebody, right? You've got people there that are like your family to you, or you're trying to escape from somebody, right? Maybe you need to get away from your actual family in that setting. Or maybe you're working. And I think that's something we don't think enough about around Christmas, is people who, still work hard for the rest of us to make sure that we can enjoy our Christmas celebrations with our families. And so I think, all of these folks would come together in a place like this, and what are their stories, and what are their connections to each other, and what happens if something unexpected, like a child, pops into the middle of their Christmas Eve? How might that impact what they're trying to accomplish that night? So, for me, it was just a really fun way to incorporate my love of this season and just jam pack as many Christmas references as I could into one piece, which I tried really hard to do, and see how all of these things come together.
Very nice. Now, you and I have had a chance to speak a little bit off camera. I was curious if you wouldn't mind telling our audience where you're at now and where you're from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I currently live in Stillwater, Oklahoma, home of Oklahoma State University, go Pokes, which is where I am on staff. Also home of Eskimo Joe's, which people may know us for. So I work at Oklahoma State University. I actually teach leadership and I teach civic engagement. And so I spend a lot of my time thinking about community and how do we help people form community? What does community look like? And now I get to think about what is the role of arts and theater in community. But before I moved to Stillwater, I spent basically my entire adult life in Fort Worth. I went to TCU. I was on staff at TCU forever. TCU and Fort Worth are very special to me. I've actually seen several productions at the Fort Worth Community Arts Center, which is a place that I always appreciated going to. And so, I saw this opportunity come up. Originally it was an opportunity to come back to Fort Worth to see the reading staged, sure. which I was really excited to do. But now I'm so thankful to get to hang out with a bunch of Texans. It's nice to talk to people south of the Red River sometimes, to get to kind of have those good reminders. But I actually initially grew up in a small city called St. Joseph, Missouri, which is north of Kansas City. It's where the Pony Express started. It's where Jesse James died. Not much else has happened there since then. That's kind of my background. And so, when I set this piece, it's in a bar, but the location of the bar is somewhere in the Midwest. So I think it's a very Midwestern sensibility around Christmas. Everybody walks in and it's freezing cold outside. They're covered in snow. And I think when people have that sort of experience around their Christmas, it really shapes, again, that community and what it means to be together in a place that's warm and safe, and how inviting that can be on a cold Midwestern winter night.
It's very interesting that you mentioned that in your teachings at OSU, because it is such a consistent theme in the script itself. So that's a really neat point. So I enjoy that. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your writing mentors or influences?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I would be remiss, and this is embarrassing to admit, but in a piece like this, I will fully admit I love a Hallmark Christmas movie, a good Lifetime Christmas special. Now, I really tried to stay away from too much of that simplicity in this story, but obviously that's going to be something that is going to pop up a lot. In terms of theater, one of the things that I really enjoy is a really good, solid comedy and farce. And so, I love writers who write with a lot of wit and with a lot of humor and a lot of really rapid fire dialogue. So think about like Ken Ludwig and those very, very classic farces that are out there. So somebody who's really influenced my style. It's kind of what I grew up on. And then, I think about, so Lauren Gunderson is a really, really great playwright who is working right now. And during this pandemic time, she's actually been releasing a series of videos where she's interviewing people working in the field. And that's been such a cool thing to get to take advantage of. I mean, again, as somebody who lives in Stillwater, Oklahoma, I'm fortunate to get to go see some great theater. We have a great community theater here, a great theater in Oklahoma City and in Tulsa, but I'm not in a place where I get to physically be connected with other writers as much. And so people who are doing things like that online right now, and things like this online, I mean, are so cool and are so encouraging to get to sort of form that community with people who aren't necessarily right there in the moment. And so this has been a good opportunity for me to kind of expand that network and get to learn from folks all over the world.
Indeed, indeed. I know with a lot of this virtual communication, we oftentimes take for granted our small knit community, and it's been interesting to see what reach this has allowed us to expand ourselves to, especially in viewership and the opportunities to take advantage of some of the platforms that are out there. So,
yeah, and I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and one of the things that has been cool for me about working with you all in this process is, I feel like this has enabled me to kind of drop into a community that is really solid and existing, and getting to kind of see the relationships that exist among the performers and with you and the performers, and how everybody's able to draw on those. That's encouraging, right? I mean, that's one of the really cool things about theater, and especially at that local level, is it's a community, and it's a thing that builds such solid relationships for folks. And that's something I so appreciate about it.
Oh, no doubt. And I think there's been some bonding going on between virtual casts as well, the same way that it has in the theater for years and years. So it has been quite interesting to be able to continue some of that continuity that happens on the live stage. So
yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your personal writing process? Do you set a time to write? Do you write whenever the muse strikes? How do you go about that?
I do try to be as consistent in my writing time as possible. I try to do it in the mornings before work. And one of the things that really one of the best lessons for me is, while I was working at TCU, I actually went and got a doctorate in education. And for me, the only thing a doctorate signifies is your pain tolerance level, right? The amount of your threshold that you can stand in. But in order to do that, I had to build really, really strong habits of, I'm going to get up, I'm going to write. I put some Starbucks barista through college, I'm sure, with the amount of money that I spent at Starbucks working on my doctoral stuff. But I just started really developing these really, really strong habits about getting up, writing, doing all of that before I would go into the office. And what I found then was I graduated, didn't need to study anymore, but those habits were still there. And that's what really that's when I shifted to dramatic writing, playwriting, because, I sort of was already working that muscle. And obviously writing an academic paper is very different, hopefully, than writing a piece for the theater. But those habits were really good. So I try to get up early. I've got a dog who would go for a walk at 4 o'clock in the morning if we wanted to. And so as soon as the alarm goes off, his nose is in my face, he's ready to go, which is good. It gets me out of bed. We walk, and then I come home and put on some coffee and write. And such a great way to start the day and really kind of get everything going for me for that day.
Nice. And it sounds like you might have answered this next question. Does writing energize or exhaust you?
Oh, both. All of those things, all at the same time, I think. It is very, I love working on a story, and I love thinking through. For me, playwriting in particular is a puzzle, right? You have these pieces, which are your characters, and you have this end result that you want to get to, and you have to figure out step by step by step how you get them there, right? What makes sense, what's right for that person, that character in that moment. And so it's just a continual solving of problems, of challenges that you have, trying to justify everything that a character does and how you get to that end. And that's exciting, right? I mean, that is a fun challenge, solving those problems, making sure that everything is authentic and is true. But that can also be intimidating sometimes, right? I mean, there are times when you feel like maybe you've set yourself an impossible challenge or a really difficult task. And then sometimes it does weigh on you. I mean, the number of times where I've gone to sleep at night just turning a character over and over and over in my head, they can weigh on you. I mean, these characters just become part of your everyday experience, and can really just sort of torment you if you let them, I think. And that's why, for me, one of my favorite moments of the playwriting process is finishing a play for the very first time, like finishing the first draft. And it's because, one, there's a sense of relief, right? Like, okay, I've done this. But two, like, I feel like I've been on this journey with these characters, and to bring them to some sort of ending is just so satisfying in that moment. And it's really cool, and it's really fun.
It really is a great story. Specifically for Christmas Eve at Aunt Maxine's, how long did it take you to finish this piece from the time you got the idea in your head to, well, I guess where we are tonight anyway for the reading?
Yeah, so I mean, this piece I worked on for a couple of years, not every day for a couple of years, but you sort of pick things up and put them down. And particularly with this, I had to really think about, is there a story here? Is this something interesting? Am I just really overindulging my love for Christmas and all things along that trope and throwing them all into one place? So it took a while. One of the things I've also found in that first draft is you sort of start putting things together, and I always work from an outline. And so in that outline, I try to be as clear as possible and as detailed about steps and beats and point by point by point. But it's not till I'm in the middle of the writing that, and this has been true of every piece I've written, as I'm writing that first draft, something clicks and I go, oh, that's what this play is about. This play is about this. And that may happen at the beginning of writing that first draft. It may not happen towards the end, but it's like, before I figure that out, it may take me, a week to write a page. And then once I figured that out, it's like things are just happening so fast. I'm able to move it through really quickly. So so it's been a while on this one. It's been a long time coming. And so that's one of the reasons I'm really excited to see this come to life tonight.
Nice. And I'm sure you probably do. Do you have any other plays in the works right now?
I do. Well, actually, thank you for the plug. Tomorrow night, the Center for Creative Arts in St. Louis is going to be premiering a 10-minute piece that I wrote specifically for Zoom, which is a fun challenge to be writing in, a piece called Future Drew. And so people can check that out. And I've got a couple other full-length plays that I have done. Actually, my most recent one that I wrote was a farce. I sort of challenged myself to work in that genre, which was so fun. It was really, and I was working on that as we were transitioning through all of this COVID stuff, and nothing in the world was making sense and everything was confusing. And so it was just really fun to play in a world where nothing really needed to make sense, right? Like people are making these outrageous, ridiculous choices, and drinks are getting thrown and people are passing out and got fake accents happening everywhere. And it was just really fun to play in that world when everything else was happening. And so I've recently completed that one, and I'm starting drafting on a new one that it's kind of spinning out right now.
Very nice. Well, hopefully we'll get another submission from you for next year's original.
We'd love to see it. Yeah, absolutely.
So on a little bit more serious note, how do you see art changing and altering itself in the midst of all this pandemic whenever we finally do come through the other side?
Yeah, and obviously that's something that a lot of us are spending a lot of time thinking about and working through. And and obviously right now there's no answers to anything. And that's one of the difficulties about this time right now is, as compared to like a natural disaster or something where the event happens and it's done, and there's a lot to do in the aftermath. We don't know when this event is done, or what done even means for this, right? And so on the positive side, I've been so encouraged by really how accessible art has become in this moment, right? I mean, things like this, right? My parents are watching now from Platte City, Missouri, and they wouldn't necessarily have gotten to come to see this in person. And so I think this has opened up venues and things in ways, and for people for whom they haven't traditionally gotten to see things. And I'm thankful for that. I think that's so natural for the artistic community to immediately pivot to access, to think, how do we share this? How do we get this out for folks? How do we provide these opportunities? And so I think that's a real positive that I've seen. But obviously a negative right now is, people need to make a livelihood doing this. And that's really, really hard for folks right now. Tickets aren't being sold. Some are. There are some online things that are selling tickets, but a lot of things are not making money in this moment. And I think that's really, really difficult. And I think it's going to be a long time before people unquestioningly enter into a space with a lot of other folks and just kind of take whatever happens to them in that moment. And of course, that's the key to theater, right? Like, you have to be there for the live experience, and you have to sort of be along for the ride, right? You can't, if you're always worried about what this is going to mean, what this is going to do to you, what's going to happen to you, it's going to take you out of the moment. And so I think it's going to cause us to really have to think very clearly and thoughtfully and meaningfully about what theater means for our folks, for our patrons, for our audience, for our performers. How do we keep performers safe in a medium in which they're working very intimately with somebody that they may or may not know all that well? And what does that mean? How do we take care of them? I'm fortunate here in Stillwater to get to work with a wonderful community theater called Town and Gown Theatre that I just love. But it is a very small, very intimate theater in the round setting where, as a performer, you're three feet away from an audience member. And how do we do that in a way that's safe and comfortable for everybody? Those are questions that we don't have answers to right now. I don't think we'll have answers to for a while. But I also continue to see people be very creative, and I'm not sort of optimistic enough to say everything is going to be better when we come through this, because it's not. There will be things that won't survive this, whether it's actual theater companies, or expressions. But I think this has also given rise to some things that wouldn't exist without this. And so there is some good to come from this as well.
All very great points indeed. So what are some of your suggestions to new playwrights, or somebody that's just looking to dip their toes into writing a play?
Yeah, so I mean, and honestly, I would put myself in that category, right? I mean, I've had a few staged productions of short pieces. This was actually the first full-length play that I wrote, and so there is a sense where you put your head down and you do the work, right? And I think anytime you write anything, it's an act of bravery. But I think particularly when you write for the theater, it's a real act of bravery, because you are constantly watching people interact with what you have done, right? And so you're watching the performers interact with it, you're watching the director interact with it, you're watching the audience interact with it. I remember, I had a short play called Watch Party premiere a couple years ago in Tulsa, and we went to see it, and it was a comedy, and the panic that I felt up until the first joke landed, like And the first joke landed and the audience laughed and I could breathe again all of a sudden, you know, and it's terrifying. But it's such an incredible, rewarding process to get to sit back and watch somebody else bring life to these characters that existed in your head and these words that you have said to yourself over and over and over. I mean, it is extraordinary. And so, you know, I think my advice would be to be brave, to be vulnerable, to share that piece of yourself with the world. And part of that being brave and being vulnerable that we all experience, right, is learning to deal with that rejection. You know, there is not a single actor who has gotten cast in every audition they've gone for. There's not a single, you know, writer who's been accepted for every submission that they have put out there. And I was really fortunate that, you know, the woman who directed that first play is a playwright by the name of Adrienne Dawes, and her work could not be more different than mine, but she is really talented and really cool and this very hip playwright. And she had as I was sort of following her career, she created a 100 rejection challenge where her goal in a year was to get rejected 100 times for her submissions. And I thought that was such a nice reframing of what this process is, right? Because anytime she got rejected, then that was one step closer to that goal. And of course, along the way, she got a lot of acceptances and had a lot of performances. And so, you know, it's that bravery, it's that tenacity, and just that willingness to write when you don't want to, when nobody else seems to believe in you, and just put your head down and believe that you have something to offer the world.
Success really is perception.
It's perception and persistence, right? I mean, it's at a certain extent, some of this becomes a numbers game. You know, the more you submit in pursuit of that rejection, the better your chances are of getting accepted somewhere.
Yeah. So kind of along those same lines, how do you feel writing changes the writer?
Oh, it's got to. I think it's incredible. Writing forces you to take the perspective of somebody who's not you, right? And you know, like a story like this, like Christmas Eve at Aunt Maxine's Roadside Bar and Grill, there's so much of me in this story, and some of these characters have components of my story in their stories, and some of these characters have experiences that I've never had. You know, things that I would not occur to me, lifestyles that I wouldn't live, or things that I wouldn't know. And so getting to sit with that and think about, how do I authentically portray somebody who is completely different than who I am, and whose experiences are completely different, and do that in a way that really honors what their experiences are. I think that really is an important lesson in extending your ideas. It makes me very thankful for the people that I do get to share this work with, the people who sort of you know, support me. I have yet to participate in a reading or staged production of a work that I have written without falling completely in love with every member of the cast, because there's that emotion. You know, they are reading and speaking the words that you have said, and that's such an emotional connection. And that, you know, as somebody who thinks about community, that has really opened me up to a lot more vulnerability, a lot more sharing with folks, a lot more being willing to kind of expose some parts of my life that I wouldn't have been willing to otherwise. So I'm so thankful for what that means in this process.
Very nice, very nice, very insightful. Can you talk to us a little bit about an early experience that you've had where you learned that language had power?
Oh, yeah, gosh, there's a lot of opportunities that I've had to experience that. But I think about, I mean, honestly, I think about theatrical productions that I was fortunate to attend really as a kid. And so one of the great things about the town that I grew up in, St. Joseph, has this vaudeville theater that was built in the 1920s. And it's this extraordinary like palace theater house, and it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite places in the world. But I can remember as a child, before I was ever on stage, like going to productions and my parents taking me and just being so in awe of what people were able to do with what they were able to say, right? And the language that they put out there, and what that could mean for people and what people could do with that. It's such an extraordinary moment to get to hear those words just kind of come over you, and hear things phrased in a way that you would have never thought of them, and hear things really brought forth in a way that's really illuminating. You know, another way that I think about when I think about language. So I was really fortunate again in my life. So I grew up in Kansas City. I went to school in Texas. I always said going to school in Texas for somebody who grew up in the Midwest is like studying abroad for 4 years, right? It's a whole different perspective on the world. And I still remember one of my very best friends, my freshman year of college, saying, and this is in a Texan, he was from Ardmore, Oklahoma, but he said, "We're fixing to go get something to eat." And I about fell out of my chair, because I had read in books, people say we're fixing to go do something, but I didn't think anybody actually spoke that way anymore, right? And just how much I learned about who he was, his background, where he was from, by his use of that phrase, right? And what that taught me about somebody whose experiences were different from mine was extraordinary, and was so cool. And that's something I hope to bring to my work is those little things that people say without even thinking about it, that really reveal significant maybe pieces of who they are and what that means.
Yes, very, very good stuff. Well, we're fixing to do a play reading.
Fixing to do it, absolutely.
So I've got one more question for you, probably the most important one. Where and how can we find you on social media and keep up with all your work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Twitter and Instagram are the two platforms I use the most. And I'm just at John Mark Day on both of those. And then for anybody who's interested in reading my works, I've got a portfolio on the New Play Exchange. So you can go to the NPX New Play Exchange, look for my author page there. And I've got my short pieces there, and my new long pieces up there as well. And I'd love to hear from folks. Would love to hear what people think.
Awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough for taking some time to visit with us, and more importantly, again, the opportunity to share this fabulous story. Thank you so much for your time, John Mark. And with that being said, if we could have all actors to the stage, please. All actors to the stage. Good evening, all of you talented and wonderful people out there. It's so nice to see everyone this evening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if the actors would be kind enough to introduce yourselves and the roles that you'll be playing this evening.
I am Barrie Alguire. I'm going to be playing Aunt Maxine. I'm an actor who's performed in a variety of theaters in the Metroplex, and I'm so excited to be part of this project with all these other lovely people.
I'm Taylor Donnelson, and I'll be playing Sarah.
Hi, I'm David Graham, and I'll be playing Jerry.
Hi, I'm Jenny Tucker, and I'll be playing Sheriff Paula.
Hi, Danny Macchietto. I'll be playing Johnathan.
Hi, I'm Andrew Manning, and I'll be playing Scott.
Hi, I'm Hazel Chabot, and I will be playing the girl. And I take classes at Miss Amy's Studio of Performing Arts.
Hello there, I'm Amy Tucker, and I will be playing Susan.
Hi, I'm Bryan Douglas, and I will be playing Andrew tonight.
Hello, my name is Joshua Hahlen, and I will be reading the stage directions.
Awesome. What a wonderful group of people. All right, if I could have all actors to places, please, for the top of the show. All actors to places for the top of the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable, sit back and relax, and without further ado, please enjoy John Mark Day's Christmas Eve at Aunt Maxine's Roadside Bar and Grill.
Christmas Eve at Aunt Maxine's Roadside Bar and Grill by John Mark Day. Time, Christmas Eve, evening. Place, Aunt Maxine's Roadside Bar and Grill. Lights up on the interior of Aunt Maxine's Roadside Bar and Grill. It's a cozy restaurant somewhere in the Midwest. It's small and old, but well cared for. Maxine wouldn't admit it, but she takes a lot of pride in this place, and her regulars feel the same way. There's a bar complete with bar stools, neon, everything you'd expect. It also has a large collection of snapshots of patrons scattered throughout. There are also proper booths and tables. A door leads to the outside, and another door leads to the kitchen and the back of the restaurant. At Rise, Maxine is behind the bar, setting a plate down in front of Paula. Jerry watches from a stool nearby. Sarah is finishing decorating a Christmas tree in the middle of the restaurant.
Here you go, Sheriff. Christmas Eve special. Good luck.
Any next to kin you want us to notify before you eat that?
You sure seem to get it down okay.
I swallow crap professionally, Paula. You've seen it.
Come on now.
It's true. Let me tell you about this couple I had in court the other day. Been married 27 years, no kids, big house in the country. Up and decide together they just don't want to be married anymore. Fair enough, happens all the time, and should be a pretty simple case. Just divide everything up 50-50, handle it in mediation, I just sign off on it. And everything's going fine until it comes to their nutcracker collection.
Nutcrackers?
They had hundreds of them. Big ones, little ones. They had one that was 6 feet tall and shaped like Snoopy. And they can't decide who gets what. The giant house, nobody cares. But the commemorative souvenir Mickey Mouse Nutcracker from the 1997 Walt Disney World Holly Jolly Christmas Spectacular? One of the attorneys actually tried to propose monthly visitation. But I thought, I'm not going to be the judge who signs off on visitation for a bunch of toys. So I have them bring them into the courtroom, spread them out all over the place. They fill the room. I got a jury of nutcrackers silently staring at me. So I flip a coin, and the wife goes first, picking the one she wants. Then he goes. They're choosing teams of nutcrackers. That's working okay, too, until the husband gets this big one, all done up in gold and gems. Gaudiest thing I ever saw. But the wife starts screaming about how it's hers. She brought it into the marriage, and if she doesn't get to keep it, this whole deal's off. So I figure I'd see what all the fuss is about. I send the bailiff to my office. I'd gotten one of those fruit and nut baskets from the girls in the court clerk's office, and the bailiff brings me a walnut. I stick it in the mouth of the fancy gold nutcracker, pull the lever, and the damn thing falls apart in my hands. Fake gems go all over my desk. That walnut stays in one piece, though. I look up, and they're both staring at me all shocked like. Neither one of them wants it now. And I realize, well, I solved the problem.
Way to go, King Solomon.
Look, you want me to divorce you at Christmas time? I will. But you're not going to like it.
Oh, don't pretend you're sentimental.
Lazy. And this is the one time of year I can get away with it.
Christmas doesn't feel lazy.
Exactly. So nobody's paying attention. My bailiff's lunches get longer and longer every time she heads to Target. The assistant DA spends more time on Amazon than on cases. And the sheriff over there is usually sugar crashing hard by mid-afternoon.
Deputy bakes and bakes. What am I supposed to do? Not eat it? That would make me a terrible boss.
So if you're actually going to make me work during the holidays, I'm going to make sure we're suffering together.
Making you work. How are you Bob Cratchit in this story?
It's because I'm so naturally cheery.
Jerry raises the glass.
To the founder of the feast.
Well, he's not wrong, Maxine. This is amazing.
Oh, thanks, darling. I had a feeling you'd like it.
What kind of cheese is in this potatoes? Huh? Parmesan?
Pecorino Romano. The real stuff. I had to special order it.
Well, thank you. It's a real treat.
Not too bad for a dive bar.
This dive bar is also the best restaurant in town.
Classy and trashy. Only way I know how to be.
Maxine, why don't you pour the sheriff there a beer on me?
Okay.
No, thanks, Jerry, but I'm on duty. Nothing for me.
Oh, come on. You're not going to make me drink alone on Christmas Eve.
It's your terrible personality that's making you drink alone on Christmas Eve. But in the spirit of the holidays,
Maxine pours 2 shots of whiskey and hands one to Jerry. They cheer and shoot him down.
Well, Merry Christmas to me.
Sarah finishes with the tree and stands back to look at it.
There, all done.
She switches on the lights on the Christmas tree, and everyone pauses a moment to look at it. It is surprisingly lovely.
You know, I never understood all those Christmas movies, why they waited until the last minute to put up their Christmas decorations. Every time I see someone on a show putting up their tree on Christmas Eve, I think, all that work for just one night.
But that's what you just did.
Talk to her about that. I could barely convince her to let me put it up tonight.
I'm running a business here, not a nativity scene.
Oh, you're the one who spent all day making Christmas cookies for everybody.
Oh.
Christmas cookies. Maxine, it's almost like you care about us.
You haven't tasted them yet.
The tree is lovely, Sarah. Really.
Oh, I set this up today too.
Sarah crosses to the bar where a laptop's been set up. She hits a button, and Christmas music begins to play throughout the bar.
Almost like a real family Christmas.
I figured if we're here and it's Christmas Eve, it should feel like it.
Doesn't feel too Christmassy to me. You're making it awfully hard to be miserable.
Good. You know, they say people who decorate for Christmas are happier and live longer. We've had Christmas lights up on our house since the day after Halloween.
How do your parents feel about that?
Oh, my dad's the one who put them up.
Oh.
And he only waits that long because my mom makes him. One year, he put them up on October 27th. Every kid who came by for Halloween didn't know if they should say trick or treat or sing a Christmas carol.
Must be a hell of an electric bill.
Well, he only keeps them on for a few hours each night, just until we're about to go to bed, except for Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, he leaves them on all night, and when we wake up in the morning, the Christmas lights are still on, and everything's so cozy and warm. Even now, it's a great way to wake up on Christmas morning.
Or you could do like I do, sleep in and skip the whole thing.
Is that really what you'll do tomorrow?
Nah. I usually saddle Brutus up and we have a nice long ride. It's good and quiet on the trails on Christmas morning.
Now, that doesn't sound too bad.
We like it. And Max, I could saddle up the mare too, if you'd like to join us.
I thought you said you like it quiet.
Okay now. Besides, if I'm going to ride a beast on Christmas morning, I'd prefer he comes down my chimney with presents first.
Max!
As the rest of them laugh, Johnathan enters from the outside. Note, every character who enters from the outside will go through the exact same ritual of stamping snow off their boots, shivering, and unwinding themselves from the coats and scarves. Once Johnathan is free of his coat, he takes a book he has brought with him and sits at the booth. Sarah goes over to him with a menu.
Well, hey there, Johnathan. Couldn't tell if it was you under all those layers.
It's cold out there, folks.
Well, then get on in here.
Are you going to want dinner tonight, Dr. Carver?
Dinner sounds great, Sarah, and please, we're not in class. Call me Johnathan.
Okay, Johnathan. Are you doing anything for Christmas?
Johnathan holds up his book.
Just this.
Really? Well, where's your family?
They're not here.
Hey, Doc, why don't you come over here and join us?
Yeah, Jerry's looking for someone to motivate him to drink more.
Jerry holds up his glass.
Like I need it.
He drinks. Johnathan grabs his things and joins him at the bar.
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.
What are you reading?
Johnathan slides his book down the bar to Paula.
The Collected Works of Edgar Allan Poe.
Well, dang. Merry Christmas to you too, I guess.
Oh, it's super Christmassy, don't you think? Talking ravens, ghosts at midnight, a slow descent into madness and alcoholism. It's more Dickens than Dickens. Now about that drink.
Maxine hands him a drink.
At least Dickens ends with happy townspeople.
Well, Poe will end with some happy students, if they read it anyway.
Oh, that's for class.
Intro to Gothic literature. Thought I'd try something new next semester.
Sounds dark and depressing.
You should register. Might brighten up your outlook.
What about you, Sarah? Are you going to take Dr. Carver again next semester?
Well, I don't really know what I'm going
In
to do.
school?
Sarah here was one of my star students last semester.
I knew she would be.
You can always tell those who have gone out and lived life before coming to school are so much more mature.
Mature. That's just another way to say old.
Don't worry, Jerry. No matter how old you are, nobody will ever think you're mature.
I'll drink to that.
So what do you think, Sarah? Are you going to take it?
I don't really think.
You did so well last semester.
Yeah, but that class wasn't realistic.
Oh, so I failed you then. Well, would that have been more realistic?
It's just the search for a happy ending. We spent a whole semester reading books that have happy endings. Then we wrote stories that all had happy endings.
What can I say? I was in a mood.
But that's not realistic. Happy endings. I mean, things end, sure. Nobody's usually happy about it.
I know some divorce attorneys who might think differently. They end things all the way to the bank.
See? Unhappy endings, that's more like it.
Aren't you supposed to be the young and optimistic one? If you've given up, we're all screwed.
You literally just put up a Christmas tree in a bar. Isn't Christmas Eve the most hopeful time of year?
I did put it up. Spent lots of time on it. 4 people will see it. And at least one of them will be too drunk to remember. And the day after tomorrow, I'll take it down again.
After a moment of silence, Paula slides the book down to Sarah.
Here you go. Seems like you'll fit right in with Jonathan's class.
For sure. I'm looking forward to reading your essay on the Gothic implications of Christmas Eve. Actually, it makes sense, right? Woman gives birth to a ghost baby.
Man invades your home in the middle of the night after spending the year watching your kids sleep.
Snowman comes to life and then agonizingly melts in front of a lot of school children.
Plus a deep dive into a year-round forced cheeriness of the North Pole elves. Now, that ain't natural.
Are you all done now?
Sarah drops the book in front of Johnathan.
Oh, it's fine when you do it.
Someone else's turn to be the positive one.
There's a moment when they all try to decide who that will be. Nobody wants it.
Looks like you're out of luck there.
Glad to see you're already gearing up for class next semester. What else are you taking?
You know, things like that, you know.
What?
Have you figured out what you want to eat?
I'll take the special.
Oh, coming up, hon. Make sure he signs the release.
Maxine exits into the kitchen. Scott and Susan enter and go through the decoding ritual. Sarah crosses to them with menus.
Hey there, y'all want a booth or a table?
Booth, please.
Sarah leads them to a booth. As they're about to sit, Susan stops and indicates a different booth in the corner.
Actually, could we take this one?
You're the only ones over here. Take all of them if you want.
Thanks.
Can I get you something to drink?
The more you drink, the better the food tastes.
Hot shot.
I'll have an iced tea, please.
I'll do the same.
You got it.
Sarah goes to make their drinks.
So, does it look like you remember?
Exactly, actually. Let me see if I hear C? SEB. Susan Elizabeth Brown. My initials are still here after all this time.
Wow. 30 years later, nothing's changed. How authentic.
Scott.
Why do anything new when you could do nothing, I guess?
Wait until you try the food.
I'm assuming today's special is some sort of molded jello.
Hey, could you stop? This is important to me.
No, you're right. It's Christmas. It should be retro.
Sarah brings them their drinks. Scott takes a sip and immediately spits it back into the cup.
Ugh, what was that?
Iced tea.
It's so bitter.
Fits right in.
Welcome to the Midwest. We don't do sweet tea here.
But it's Christmas Eve.
Sarah brings him a box of sweeteners.
Maybe these will help.
Scott pulls out the packets one by one.
Calories, cancer. Do they still make this one? I guess just water. Bottled. Do you have bottled water?
Yes, we have bottled water.
And no ice or glass. Just the bottle.
Of course. You know what you'd like to eat?
I'll take the special.
Just a hamburger, please. No bun or cheese. And do you have just like steamed veggies instead of fries? Just steamed, no butter, and no salt on any of it. Maybe a squeeze of lemon, or you could just bring out a lemon and I'll do it myself.
I think we can do that.
Sarah goes to put in their order.
I do appreciate you being here.
There's no place I'd rather be. Okay, maybe not no place.
Andrew enters into the bar.
Rev, peace be with you.
And also with you, Your Honor.
Maxine enters with a plate of food that she delivers to Johnathan.
Glad you're here, Andrew. You're just in time to do last rites.
Andrew begins to follow Maxine.
Oh, yeah? What's the special tonight?
Salmonella.
They all laugh. Scott chokes on the drink he's just taken. Maxine exits back into the kitchen. Andrew then realizes that he's headed right for Johnathan, and there's an awkward moment when he tries to decide whether or not to sit next to him. Finally, he sits.
Hi.
Hello.
How was the service?
Oh, you know, Christmas Eve family service. Little kids dressed like sheep and parents elbowing each other out of the way to take pictures.
I thought Christmas Eve service was all candlelight and hymns.
That's the 11 o'clock. I'll go back for that.
Needed a break, did you?
Grabbed my Bible, threw the Santa suit in the car, and got out of there as soon as I could.
Santa in church?
Santa, a live donkey. It even snowed in the sanctuary. It's a whole thing.
Let me buy you a drink. Sounds like you could use it.
I don't know. I'm supposed to be back.
He checks his watch.
I've got time.
Sarah comes from behind the bar to make his drink.
Merry Christmas, Andrew.
Merry Christmas, Johnathan. Christmas Eve at Aunt Maxine's, eh?
Yeah, you know, it's just...
Yeah.
Are you gonna see your family?
Tomorrow. By the time I get out of service tonight, it'll be pretty late, so just a quiet Christmas morning here and then drive over the river and through the woods.
Sarah gives Andrew his drink.
You two should spend Christmas morning together.
Yeah, after spending Christmas Eve night together.
That's not what I meant.
I mean, it's
Or not.
Oh, Lord, just kiss him already.
Stop it.
What? They're two grown-ass men over there acting like it's the first middle school dance.
Oh, well, you're one to talk.
I'm fine, thank you.
Uh-huh.
The kitchen door swings open and Maxine enters, bringing the food to Scott and Susan. Paula continues her assault on Jerry, giving the head nod to indicate it's Maxine she's talking about.
Here you go. One self-flagellation burger and one special.
Maxine notices who she's speaking to.
Well, hot damn. Little Susan Brown. It's been a minute.
Hi, Maxine. I can't believe you remember me.
Are you kidding me?
To the rest of the bar.
This little girl would come and sit in this booth with her mother every Saturday lunch while her dad did Cub Scout duty with, if I remember, 4 brothers. And if you ever tried calling her Susie, whoo, she'd wrinkle up her face and say so slowly, "That's not my name." I always just figured a place like this ought to have a little girl named Susie in it.
Maxine, you know this is no place for children.
Ignore him. So what are you doing here?
Christmas. We came back for Christmas.
We?
She notices Scott.
We?
This is my husband, Scott.
Scott stands up and shakes Maxine's hand.
It's nice to meet you. Susan has been telling me how important this place was to her.
Do you see this? Look at those manners. You hooligans better pay attention and learn something.
Ah, humbug.
Sit down, sit down. It's been so long.
Yeah, we usually spend Christmas with Scott's family.
My family has a cabin in the woods up north. My grandmother sort of requires that we all be there for Christmas.
Sounds cozy.
Cabin is a bit of an understatement.
Susan said it was important we be here this Christmas, so we received special dispensation to miss this year.
What's so special about this Christmas?
No, nothing.
Hey, mind your own business, old man. Don't worry about him. I'm just glad to see you again.
Yeah, we've come up to visit, but we haven't managed to make it in here until now. Things have been a little chaotic at my mom's place.
There are 12 grandchildren, all under the age of 8.
So I granted a momentary reprieve.
How's your mom doing? It's been a minute.
Tired.
Yeah.
12 grandchildren.
Well,
okay, you know what? I think I still, hold on.
Maxine goes over to the wall of snapshots thumbtacked to the bar.
I think I got, let me just, no. Oh, yep. Here it is.
He pulls a photo off the wall and brings it back to the booth to show Susan and Scott.
oh my goodness.
Is that you?
As a little girl.
And this is you.
Not as a little girl.
And you're wearing the same outfit.
Bad style is forever.
I'm what, 8 years old here?
She flips the photo over.
Look, Christmas Eve at Aunt Maxine's.
Wait, so Maxine is actually your aunt?
Maxine is everyone's aunt.
Well, I'm old enough anyway.
No, I mean it. Maxine's the one that you go to when you need to talk to someone who's not your parents.
That's how I got here.
Same.
Yep.
Now, you hush up, Jerry. You're older than me.
Yeah, but you're smarter.
Well,
He's family.
okay, everybody, that's enough. Sarah, get everyone around to drinks. That ought to shut you all up.
There's a cheer from the group, and Sarah moves behind the bar to start opening up.
Okay, so I'm starting to get it. This place is quaint.
Oh, Lord. Don't say quaint.
What? It's quaint. That's a good thing.
Oh, no. Quaint is what fancy people say when there's one too many taxidermied heads on the wall of the cabin they rented at the lake.
Quaint is when you realize you're going to have to share a room in the Airstream with your 3 cousins.
Quaint is when you swipe right and end up matching with your stepbrother's baby mama for the 3rd time.
Ew.
Was that too far? Sorry, I never know with this game.
Little bit.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah, did it?
No, come on.
Look, son, we can see that you're all fancy and classy and showered, but just because we're not, doesn't mean that we're not.
I'm not fancy.
Your man Uggs say different.
Help me out here.
Well, you did Amazon Prime a case of cashew milk to my mom's house for your morning cappuccino. Oh, and a cappuccino maker.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting to go to your mother's house and there not to be a cappuccino maker. Drink one too.
Susan, you fancy now?
Oh,
This guy.
don't you put this on me.
Oh, well, just as long as you're not too fancy for my food now.
Never.
So, fancy boy, what's Christmas like at your grandmother's?
Oh, it's just Christmas.
The cabin is an inn in Vermont. They rent the whole place out every Christmas for 2 weeks. It's 5-star dining, 15,000 thread count bedding, a butler. It's like the movie White Christmas if you just skip past all the sad parts.
It's not.
There's literally pictures of Rosemary Clooney performing there.
What? She was an old friend of the family.
Can you introduce me to George? I'd make him an old friend of my family.
Maxine.
Anyway, it's great.
And mandatory. That's why we've never made it up here for Christmas.
Well, why would you when you can be there?
No, it's
Don't say it.
nice.
Chaotic.
Well, that too.
Embrace the chaos, because when the chaos stops, that's when the real trouble happens.
Not always.
No, always. We used to have this super chaotic family in town, real sweet, but real loud. Dogs barking, motorcycles all up and down the street, music all the time. We were out there a bunch for noise complaints. And then one week, nothing. No dogs, no bikes, real quiet. So we went out there just to check. And you know what they were?
Don't say dead.
Dead. The whole bunch of them, dogs and all. Gas leak.
Come on, Sheriff.
Dogs and all. The Reverend here had to do the funeral.
Dogs and all.
Oh, no.
Merry Christmas.
Any family that's not chaotic, especially at Christmas, well, there's something wrong. That's all I'm saying.
That's why we're all here tonight, yeah?
Seems pretty chaotic here.
Chaos is better than silence.
Have you talked to your family?
No.
Do you want to?
You know what? I really don't.
Okay.
It's not like it was ever that great anyway.
We don't have to talk about it here.
Might as well.
Okay, everybody, let's just talk over here.
Everyone at the bar moves to the booze and pretends to be distracted doing something else.
I actually saw my grandmother in October. I told her not to tell anybody I was coming, and we had a really nice dinner.
Yeah?
Well, it was super awkward, but the food was good.
Hey, at least that means you're probably still in the will.
Hush.
That's so sad you don't get to see your family at Christmas. Are they just too far away?
Philosophically, I guess.
But hey, we're here. I'm here.
Yeah, hey, I'm not some tragic Christmas figure. Everybody come, sit back down.
They do.
Truth is, I've had some great Christmases and some terrible Christmases, just like everybody else.
I have been on duty every Christmas since I was 19. You figure out how to make it work.
Remember that year we did the candy cane eating contest for the kids? I spent Christmas cleaning up peppermint puke.
When I was a kid, my great Aunt Bethany's cat burned down our Christmas tree, and then my mom's cousin-in-law kidnapped my dad's boss when he didn't send him a Christmas bonus.
That's the movie Christmas Vacation.
Based on a true story.
Now this is true. This is realistic. Every Christmas movie is super dark when you think about it.
No.
Elf, all about Zoe Deschanel being poor and having a shower at work. Then she's eating ramen noodles by herself on Christmas Eve. Plus she's blonde, which is a bummer. The movie A Christmas Story is about poverty and capitalism. Miracle on 34th Street, alcoholism and dementia.
Stop.
And no, I've got to agree. From the beginning, Christmas is terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Donkeys and the manger and all. Real terrifying.
You should hear the Revelation version.
There's blank stares from everyone.
Nobody knows this one? Hold on.
Andrew opens his Bible and walks to the center of the bar.
Lights, please. Lights.
Maxine flips a switch and Andrew is illuminated by a single spot.
A great sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven. An enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its heads. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth so that it may devour her child the moment it was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child who would rule all the nations with an iron scepter. Then the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to wage war against the rest of her offspring. That's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown.
That's in there.
Chapter 12.
Maxine flips the lights back on.
So, yeah, I don't figure there's too much perfect family Christmas going around.
Unless you're the heir of an old-timey railroad magnate.
Everyone turns and looks at Scott.
Real estate.
The room erupts with laughter.
In the ministry, the whole month of December is like one big marathon. Christmas is exhausting.
You at least get to go home to your family tomorrow.
You're right. You win. Your life is more depressing.
That's not what I meant.
You sure? Because it sure seems like you're not happy unless you're wallowing in self-pity.
Well, this took a turn.
Hey, everybody, let's go back over here again.
Everyone moves.
You wanna...
Yeah, let's do this. I tried. You know, I tried. And here you sit alone in a bar on Christmas Eve, feeling your feelings.
Oh, because it's so pathetic to be in a bar on Christmas Eve.
He pauses, looking to the group for backup. They're working very hard to ignore him.
Come on. Nobody?
You say you're not some tragic figure, but the truth is, you don't know anything else to be.
What is this? What's happening here?
I don't know. I've been putting in the time for a year now, since last Christmas Eve. And where are we? Another year older, not any merrier.
Where is this coming from?
It's Christmas Eve, and I am in a bar, and I'm tired, and I have to go back to work soon. And I want to be with my family, but I'm here. And now I feel guilty that I even have a family to want to be with. And last Christmas, I really thought by this one, it'll be different.
What happened last Christmas?
Sarah, it's none of our business.
No, he dragged all of you into this. So let's go ahead. Last Christmas Eve, finally worked up all of my courage, and I asked the good professor here on a date. I had to work that evening, of course, so we went to lunch. Here, we went ice skating and drank hot chocolate, and it was completely cliche, and it was completely perfect. And then on Christmas, I drove to my sister's house, and I was Uncle Andrew, and I thought next year, Johnathan will be here with me, and that will be all I've ever wanted.
What happened?
You're in this now?
I want to know what happened.
Nothing. Literally nothing. I asked him out again, and he said yes. And then he postponed. Then he postponed again. Then I decided I'd wait for him to ask. And he never did. And I'd see him all the time, but he never did. And it's not like we broke up, because we were never a thing. We were never dating. And it's not like he ghosted me, because here we are. A year later, and just here.
I didn't mean to. It just got away from me. And then I felt awkward.
No, what you felt was self-pity. You'd rather feel self-pity than be with me.
That's not true.
So tomorrow, I'm going to go back and be with my sister and her family, and I'm going to be Uncle Andrew, and I love being Uncle Andrew. But I'm also going to spend the whole time being really grateful and really lonely.
I know.
And you could be there with me, but you're going to choose loneliness for both of us.
You're not being very pastoral right now.
Oh, you want a Bible verse? And the Lord said, stop whining about it and get off your ass and do something. 1 Andrew 12:24.
Never learned that one in Sunday school.
It's from the advanced version.
Look, it's not that I...
Sure. I know. You do you. Here, let me move over here so I'm not infringing on your holiday exile.
Andrew gathers up his things and moves away to a booth, having to move through the group as he does. They all settle back into their seats. There's a long, awkward pause.
So it was a gas leak?
Carbon monoxide. We found one of those detectors, but the battery had been pulled out.
Oh.
Yeah, it didn't help. There's another awkward pause.
Oh, cookies.
Sarah runs to the kitchen.
Oh, thank God.
So, Sheriff, is it usually quiet here on Christmas Eve?
Oh, usually. Nothing like Thanksgiving.
What happens on Thanksgiving?
Exploding frying turkeys. Gruesome touch football accidents. and family gunfights over the last piece of pumpkin pie.
No, that doesn't happen. Does it?
Oh, yeah. And when I cuff the first shooter, he's mad because he thinks it means he'll miss the Black Friday at Walmart. He was planning to get it cheap TV for the brother he was shooting at.
Don't tell me your family has never resorted to a little gunplay to settle an argument.
Oh, we don't argue.
Oh, that's right. Fancy boy family.
Oh, no, we should argue. We just don't argue.
Nobody does passive aggressive like Scott's family.
One time my brother forgot to call my mother for her birthday, so she forgot to put him in the next draft of the will.
Sounds like I'd prefer the guns.
You'd be right to.
Do you work every holiday?
Sure do.
Don't you want to celebrate?
That's why I'm here now.
But this is...
He takes a look around.
Maybe not too bad, actually.
Haven't had a gunfight in Maxine's in a while.
And I was elected to take care of the people of town. Now, me being on duty during holidays means that they can celebrate without worrying. And that means something.
I'm beginning to see that.
Sarah re-enters with a platter of cookies and begins handing them out. There is a moment when everyone is eating and all is at peace.
See, there we go. Cookies make it better.
Even Maxine's.
Especially Maxine's. What is in these?
Well, that one's a secret family recipe. I'm not telling.
Like passed down from your grandmother?
Actually, no. I developed the recipe over time with my nieces and nephews. When they were kids, they'd come here the first day of their Christmas break, and we'd spend all day making cookies and hot chocolate while their parents were Christmas shopping. And that was always my Christmas.
Did they make these?
No, they hadn't been back to town for a while. Their families moved away after our parents died, and so they don't come here for Christmas.
Why don't you go see them?
I could. I've thought about it. But if I close the restaurant for Christmas, where would you extras from the bar and It's a Wonderful Life go?
You don't have to keep this place open for us. You should be with family on Christmas.
I always figured I was. Not you, Jerry.
None taken.
So that's where the name Aunt Maxine's came from? The actual Aunt Maxine herself?
Pretty much. When I started waitressing here, it was called Mama's.
Who was Mama?
Stanley Mouskovich. And when Stan retired, I bought the place and I changed it to a more accurate name.
You never settled down and had kids?
I bought a restaurant. I felt like the same thing.
Is there a Mr. Aunt Maxine?
God, enough.
Oh, it's okay. You can't be the nosiest old lady in town without some of it coming back around. And no, there's no Mr. Aunt Maxine.
Why not?
Yeah, Jerry. Why not?
Like I said, I bought a restaurant. Haven't met a guy yet who can compete with her.
Oh, no?
Well, if I have, he sure hadn't done anything about it.
Everyone turns to look at Jerry. Maxine is enjoying watching him squirm.
No batteries in the carbon monoxide detector, you say?
That's what I thought.
Sarah takes the tray of cookies back over to Jerry.
Have another cookie, Your Honor. Should help soothe the burn.
I don't need any sass from you, young lady, but I will take the cookie.
Scott's phone begins to ring.
It's grandmother. Are you good?
Oh, yeah, you'd better answer. I can't imagine what would happen if you missed her call on Christmas Eve.
Scott exits the bar, answering his phone on the way out.
Sarah, you should see if you can get Maxine to make up a batch of these for the first day of class next semester.
It's not a bad idea. Give you all some brain food and some energy to survive Dr. Carter's lecture.
Hey now, it's not that bad. Not the first day, at least.
Sarah, you never said if you decided what you want to study. That school's got a pretty good culinary program. You could come back and teach me a thing or two.
Feel free to try out those recipes on me.
Okay. Sorry, Professor. The judge ate my homework.
Well, I don't think that I'm...
Sorry, of course not. You study what you want to study now.
What are you in school for?
Well, nothing.
What does that mean?
I mean, I'm done.
But you just started.
I dropped out.
I knew it.
What?
What?
Why?
Why?
How?
Everyone looks at Jerry.
Sorry, I just wanted to play too.
Move.
Everyone except Maxine, Johnathan, and Sarah go to the opposite side of the bar.
What happened? You were doing so well.
No, I wasn't. I hated it.
Didn't seem that way to me.
Okay, your class was good, but everything else was dumb.
But you worked so hard.
Yep. I guess I was the dumb one.
Sarah.
I went because I told you I'd try it. I tried it, and now I'm done with it. I don't need it.
So what are you going to do?
What I'm doing now?
You're going to live with your parents, and you're going to be a waitress here. Forever?
Eventually I'll move out. If I'm not paying for school, I can save up a lot faster.
But just here? That's it?
It's what you did.
Yes, which is why you're not.
You just said how much this place meant to you.
To me.
You're going to need someone to take it over when you retire.
Not happening. I'm going to die in the walk-in cooler.
Jerry starts to make a comment about this until Paula elbows him in the ribs.
Maybe I don't need to have it figured out then. I'll just see what happens.
That's your plan? See what happens? Sarah, we're talking about your life, not your weekend.
Look, I'm not one of those people things just get better for. This is the best I can hope for.
Sarah, that's not true.
It's okay. I understand that. This is who I am.
What if you get hurt and can't work? What if I fire you?
You're not going to fire me.
I'm thinking about it.
Max.
What if you decide to start a family?
What does that have anything to do with it?
Well, you think you're going to run this place and have a family?
Just because you couldn't do it doesn't mean I can't.
Okay, now.
You've done enough.
To Sarah.
Listen here, little one. I know the easy path seems great right now, but we all reach a point where we look back and think, what if? And if you don't have a good answer to that question, it's going to lead you to some places you don't want to go.
It's not the easy path. It's the only path.
Is it? What if?
Okay, thank you, Buddha, for that. Sarah, there are options, and we can talk about it later, but it's Christmas Eve, and we're family. Family means ignoring problems for the holidays. So, everybody come sit back down. Let's resume our evening.
The group moves back to their seats. Scott enters the bar.
How was your grandmother?
Surprising. Unless her passive aggressiveness reached a whole new level, she seemed okay. She said to tell you Merry Christmas without any hint of sarcasm. It's very unlike her.
Well, it's Christmas Eve.
I still can't believe she let us miss it.
Well,
They were just about to start the carol sing-along.
Oh, well, us too.
You singing Christmas carols is a whole nother level of problems.
Well, why not? I do love Christmas carols.
Let me guess. Family sing-alongs gathered around the piano.
Everyone in Fair Isle sweaters and perfect harmony.
Adele flown in to lead the singing?
No.
Susan gives him a look.
Okay. John Legend that one time.
Good Lord. What are you, the villain in a Hallmark Christmas movie?
Oh, I like that. Where's the strapping hometown hottie to teach me the true meaning of Christmas?
Stop it.
Ooh, tell me about him.
Oh, I've got this. His name is Jameson Winters, and he's a Christmas tree farmer.
Innkeeper.
Uber driver / dog walker / independent baker. But deep down, he's an aspiring photographer.
Of course.
You meet when he rescues your cat who got stuck in a Christmas tree.
When you accidentally fall into his arms while ice skating.
When you decide to buy his historic family home to turn into condos.
Everyone looks at Scott.
Well, I can play too.
Oh, and he teaches you the true meaning of Christmas thanks to a magic snow globe that reenacts your childhood.
He covers every tree in town in purple Christmas lights because purple are what your dad would always put up.
He brings you here for dinner, and the food poisoning is so bad that when you're in the medically induced coma, you have a whole vision about what your life would be without him, what life would be like with him.
Okay, well, that's a little too on the nose.
What happens to me?
She's blonde.
Nobody knows.
Alcoholism.
Oh, okay. Well, that was fun.
I thought it was nice.
There's a burst of static out of the walkie-talkie clipped onto Paula's shoulder. She listens for a moment, then speaks in the radio.
10-4, I'm on my way. Sorry, folks, I gotta head out. Duty calls.
What's going on?
Well, they're not sure. An accident or something? Max, I'll swing by later if it's not too late when I finish up.
I'll keep something warm for you.
Paula puts on her coat and exits the bar.
Well, that killed the mood.
I hope everyone's okay.
Now, Scott, you know that nobody here actually thinks you're the villain in a Hallmark Christmas movie, right?
I don't know. Maybe I am. I just have certain expectations for what Christmas should be like.
Well, at least you're one of the good villains. The one we feel a little bad about sending out into the cold.
Well, there's that at least. You know, if we were at my family's right now, we'd be having an actual Hallmark Christmas.
I know.
I mean, anything you want. Snow, dogs curled up by the fire, gingerbread houses made by a pastry chef.
I know.
It's literally the perfect Christmas. And if that's what you want, why are we here?
I know.
Do you all want to know what was happening right when we came here?
God, don't.
One 3-year-old was screaming because she got the red candy cane and she wanted the green one. Susan's older brother is drunk already and made me sit on his lap and tell him what I wanted for Christmas. And her younger brother brought his dog who, seeing all the chaos, ran right into the middle of the living room and peed on the Christmas tree.
I know.
I just don't get it. You say you want the perfect Christmas, but you brought us to this chaos.
Chaos is what Christmas is all about.
Everybody says they want family on Christmas, but everybody hates your family at Christmas.
How would you know? Sorry. You know what? No, I'm not.
Boys?
No, he's right. Hey, everybody. My name's Johnathan, and I'm alone at Christmas. When I was 21 years old, I told my parents I was gay. On Christmas Eve, actually. My dad said I could choose to be gay or I could choose to be his son. When I told him I didn't choose to be either, he said he thought it would be best if I went back to school early. And that was the last time I was home.
At least when you're not with your family, you don't have to worry about them telling you what to do all the time.
Oh, we're back to being family now?
That's what you've always called us. If it's changed, then fine.
This is all the response I get.
Everybody's figured out your tragic backstory.
Sorry we didn't pay enough attention to your big reveal.
Looks like we've all got things of our own to hash out.
Ladies, I don't think you want to be doing that.
Hey, you stay out of this, old man.
Yeah, what do you know about family anyway?
That doesn't concern you.
Oh, now you don't want my help?
It's not enough for you to sit in judgment every day at work. You had to do it on Christmas Eve, too.
Oh, no need to blame Jerry. This has all been ready to come out.
Yeah, I suppose Christmas is the time to say everything you don't have the guts to say the rest of the year.
That's what the eggnog's for.
You should have a cup then. Maybe you'll finally tell me what's going on.
There's nothing going on.
We've never missed Christmas at the lodge, so clearly something happened to change that.
God, this isn't...
Look, if you don't tell me what it is, I can't fix it. Did grandmother say something?
No, of course not.
Then what is it?
Yeah, what is it?
Jerry, they don't need your help.
Actually, I think they do. It's Christmas Eve, and it's time for miracles. I can't do anything about this.
He indicates Andrew and Johnathan.
And I can't do anything about this.
He indicates Maxine and Sarah.
But I'm a family court judge, and there's a problem with this family. That's something I can do something about.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
I'm in.
Scott.
If this is what it takes for you to tell me what's wrong with my family, then let's do this.
Nah, it's not your family.
What?
It's not your family that's the problem. Everything she said about your family Christmas has been a joke, or with some endearment. That's not where the pain is coming from.
Jerry, you need to stop.
And earlier, Maxine, you found that picture of Susan and her family so fast. You've been looking at it recently. You got hundreds of pictures up. Why that one? Why now? There's something going on with Susan's family, Max, and you know what it is.
It doesn't matter what I know.
And you do know, don't you? You know everything that goes on in this town.
It doesn't matter.
Now, what would you know, and how would you know it?
All right, folks, we're shutting down. Everybody go home.
To Jerry.
Or back under your bridge.
No. Okay, just stop. I'll talk.
I'm sorry, Susan. This has gone too far. You don't have to.
I was going to tell you tomorrow night anyway, but you can't tell anyone else.
Susan looks at the rest of the group, who get up to move to the other side of the restaurant.
No, stay, everybody. Just don't say anything.
The group mumbles their assents and assurances, Maxine shooting a death look at Jerry.
My mom's cancer is back, and it's worse this time.
Oh no.
This is probably her last Christmas.
Damn.
My brothers know, of course, but we haven't told the kids and we haven't told the spouses. My mom wanted totally normal, and that's what we're getting.
Susan.
Your grandmother knows, actually. I called and told her when my mom asked for us to be here. That's how we got released to come. She was completely understanding, So this is our last Christmas here.
We should go back.
No, my mom's in bed right now anyway. I thought here would be better.
To Maxine.
If you're still staying open.
Of course.
Everybody, please, let's just go back to Christmas Eve. Maybe we need to, I don't know, figure out what kind of elf Sarah would be.
Baking, obviously.
Maxine, how about a round of drinks? That does the trick, right? A round of drinks on me.
Drinks, of course, but they're on the house.
I got him.
Well, Jerry, it looks like you got what you wanted. Everybody miserable on Christmas Eve.
I didn't want everybody miserable, but at least the truth is out.
She was going to tell him tomorrow, but you had to do it your way. You had to commandeer Christmas Eve.
Well, I guess this is something you won't have to worry about.
What?
At least you'll never have to be there for somebody while they're dealing with the death of a family member.
You think that...
See, you did this too.
That has nothing to do with me.
But none of this does. And yet you're still in the middle of all of it.
Sarah begins bringing the drinks around.
It's not all his fault.
And don't think I've forgotten about you.
Great. Let's have it.
No. This one we're going to ignore for now. Let's let it fester.
Oh, good.
A toast, everybody. Here's to making each other miserable on Christmas Eve. I guess we're a real family after all.
Everyone drinks silently. After a moment, the girl enters. She wears only a bathrobe over pajamas and one shoe. She's clutching a stuffed animal. She makes her way into the bar, past Maxine, and sits down.
Sorry, sweetie, you can't sit there. You have to be in a booth with your parents.
The girl doesn't move. Andrew looks outside.
There's nobody there. She's alone.
Blackout. End of Act 1. Act 2. 5 minutes later. Sarah enters with a plate of cookies and a glass of milk, which she sets in front of the girl. Maxine is on the phone. Susan has taken a seat next to the girl. The guys are all essentially in their same positions as before.
Here you go, darling. Milk and cookies always help.
To Johnathan.
Has she said anything yet?
Nothing.
It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe now. We just want to help. Tell me your name.
The girl doesn't say anything. After a moment, Maxine hangs up the phone.
The deputy's at the scene now, so Paula's on her way here.
I'm assuming this isn't a normal occurrence, children wandering off in the street like that?
Neither normal nor desirable.
And nobody recognizes her?
General consensus that no, they don't.
Should we, I don't know, put her picture online, like on Facebook or something?
I feel like I'd advise against that.
She's not somebody's puppy who got out of the yard.
She's somebody's kid, though. That's a start at helping them find her.
Johnathan has made his way over to Andrew.
Maybe you should try talking to her.
She's going to talk to some grown man she doesn't know?
You're a pastor. You're supposed to have divine powers at getting people to talk.
Sorry, I left my magic stole at the church.
I think he's right. You should try.
Andrew moves over to the girl, clearly uncomfortable.
Hey there, little girl. My name's Reverend Andrew. What's yours? Do you want a cookie?
Good Lord. You're even worse at this than I'd be. Hey, little girl, you know who I am? I'm a judge. That's who. That means you have to tell me your name, or I can put you in jail. Do you want to spend the night in jail?
The girl starts crying, collapsing into shoulder.
That's your best approach? Jail? I mean, sure, you're hopeless, but this is hopeless.
It works all the other times.
At least I feel better about my own approach now.
It's okay, sweetie. The mean judge was just kidding. You're not going anywhere.
Try again. You've got this.
Hi. Can I tell you about our church tonight? I think you would have enjoyed it. We had donkeys and it snowed inside. Do you like to play in the snow? Oh, and Santa even stopped by.
The girl perks up at this.
Oh, you know Santa? I know Santa. Actually, I know Santa.
He gets up and begins to head for the front door.
Where are you going? You were doing so well.
I have an idea. Sarah, can you take over?
Andrew exits.
Hi, sweetie. My name's Sarah. Do you want to tell me your name? You know what? That's not fair, is it? There's a whole room full of grown-ups here asking you questions, and nobody's telling you who they are. So, how about I walk you around and everyone can tell you who they are, and then maybe you could tell us about yourself. Does that sound okay?
Sarah holds out her hand to the girl. After a moment, she takes it.
Okay.
Good idea, Sarah.
Let's start here then. This is Aunt Maxine.
Hi, darling. I'm Maxine. Everybody calls me Aunt Maxine. You can call me that too. This here's my restaurant. Have you been in here before? I don't think you have, but I can make you anything you want. Chicken strips or a hamburger, maybe a grilled cheese. I can make something for you. It's Christmas Eve. You should eat. Would you like that? I'm going to make you something. I'll be right back.
Maxine exits into the kitchen.
Boy, bringing a little kid in sure does get everybody to leave fast. I'm going to have to remember that for my birthday party.
Don't worry, Jerry. I don't think anybody's going to be coming to your birthday party.
And this is Mr. Jerry. I promise he's a nice man. Well, he's not a mean man anyway. Well, he's not going to throw you in jail.
I'm sorry about that, little girl. I don't really throw people in jail all that often. Actually, sometimes my job is to find little ones like you, find families. I'm the judge who gets to make their adoptions official. It's my favorite part of the job, making families. Usually there's a whole bunch of people there and they're crying, the good kind of crying, and we take pictures. For a lonely old guy, I figure I'm in a whole lot of family photo albums.
And this is Scott and Susan. They're married. And, sorry, I don't know a whole lot else about you.
Oh, that's okay. I grew up here. My mom used to bring me to Aunt Maxine's all the time when I was a little girl, like you. It's a nice place and the people are nice. And Aunt Maxine makes a great grilled cheese. Wait till you try it. And this is my husband, Scott.
Hi. I'm not from here, but I like it here. The people are nice. They care about you, about how you're doing, and they want to help each other out. Let's say you had some really bad news or something, or something you were scared to tell somebody. Well, the people here, they're like family. They are family. So you need to tell them, because you need to tell these things to family, because family will help you out. They'll be there for you. support you, but only if they know what's going on.
Subtle.
Sorry, I really still just processing.
This is Johnathan. He's a teacher. He was my teacher, actually. Best one I ever had. I mean, it's true. We read great books.
I love to read. Do you like to read? I love stories. They're great Christmas stories. I can't think of any right now. Does anybody know a good Christmas story? Sarah?
Okay. Oh, when I was a little girl, about your age, I wanted a puppy for Christmas so badly. All year long, I told everybody that all I wanted for Christmas was a puppy. It's all I talked about. Then Christmas morning came, and I was so excited the night before, I couldn't even sleep. Finally, it was Christmas morning, and I ran downstairs, and there it was. A puppy! He had a bow and everything. And right as I ran to pick him up, my big brother pushed me out of the way, and he grabbed the puppy. And the puppy bit him right on the nose. It was awesome. But he had to have stitches and everything. His whole life, that puppy hated my brother, but he loved me. He was the best.
Maxine enters back with a plate full of grilled cheese.
Here you go, Aunt Maxine's grilled cheese.
Come over here and let's have a seat so you can eat it.
They sit in one of the booths, and the girl hungrily eats.
Good. That's good, right?
Even I can't screw up grilled cheese.
Maxine. She'll have a good Christmas story, I'm sure. Max, we're telling Christmas stories.
What kind of Christmas stories?
I don't know. Tell us about when you were a little girl.
Oh, back when we rode dinosaurs to school?
Be serious.
Okay. Well, when I was in middle school, I decided I'd be the one who made Christmas dinner for everybody. My mom was what I call a functional cook. Food got on the table, we were fed, but we weren't always happy about it. So I thought, well, this will be my Christmas present to the family. Well, it was a great plan until my sister announced she was bringing her boyfriend home for Christmas dinner. It was his first time meeting everybody and my first time cooking for everybody. Everyone was nervous.
Oh, so she thought she would kill him instead of break up with him. Smart.
Keep going.
Anyway, I did it all. Ham, macaroni and cheese, rolls, chocolate cake with peppermint icing for dessert. And not only did nobody die, after dinner, the boyfriend got down and proposed to my sister. Now, he says he was already planning it, but I know it was my food that pushed him over the edge.
Well, he wouldn't be the last.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. Anyway, that's when I realized it. Food is a way that love shows up in the world. And I've been cooking ever since.
Andrew enters the bar again with a bag over his shoulder.
Any luck?
You want to tell us your name? Still nothing.
I have an idea, but Judge, I'm going to need your help. Max, you too.
Andrew, Maxine, and Jerry all confer in whispers. Throughout, Jerry is adamantly opposed.
How about Scott? I bet you've got a great Christmas story.
I
Yeah, I want to hear about Christmas at the end.
You're all going to think this is ridiculous.
No more than they already do, I'm sure.
Well, okay. One year we got actually snowed in at the end. There was a huge blizzard and they shut down the roads. None of the staff could get there. UPS couldn't make it with all the presents we'd ordered. It was like being in The Shining. So Christmas comes and it's time for Christmas dinner, but of course none of us know how to do anything. My whole family's just standing in the kitchen staring at each other. I mean, we're just about to have ice cream for dinner when there's this crazy noise outside. We run out, and then there's this helicopter landing on the lawn of the inn, like Santa and his reindeer. And then this man gets out. It was Bobby Flay. My grandfather's assistant had called him in, arranged the helicopter, everything. He even picked up the Christmas presents on the way. So we had steak and enchiladas, all sorts of amazing food that year. We tried to get him to bring Bobby back next year, but he said that it was a one-time Christmas miracle.
Come on, man.
Jerry breaks away from the small group conversation.
I'm not doing that.
Come on, Jerry.
Nope. Once you do it once, you're stuck doing it every year.
Oh, we won't tell anybody.
Well, you're going to tell everybody.
We're going to take pictures.
No.
Paula enters the bar.
Hey, Maxine, where?
She sees the girl.
You found her.
Well, she found us.
Do you know who this is?
Yeah, there's a wreck up on the highway. The couple in the front was unconscious and on their way to the hospital. We
She
found
holds up
this
the girl's other shoe.
next to the car. We found it and have been trying to figure out who it belongs to.
Oh, hey there, Cinderella.
Hey, they found your shoe.
Sarah takes the shoe from Paula and tries to put it on the girl, but the girl refuses.
Okay, that's fine.
She came here.
She just wandered in.
What has she said?
Nothing. She won't talk to anyone.
Okay.
To the girl.
Hey, little one. Do you want to come with me? I can take you to your parents.
The girl shakes her head no and buries her head in Sarah's shoulder.
She's freaked out.
Can't you just pick her up and carry her or something?
I can, but I'm not going to.
That's a terrible idea.
It's an effective idea.
I don't think she's gonna go with anybody.
I know somebody who could get her to go.
Andrew and Maxine look at Jerry, who squirms again for a moment.
Fine. Damn it.
In front of the kid?
Sorry.
Right this way, Your Honor.
Maxine leads Jerry and Andrew back into the kitchen. They exit.
It's okay, sweetie. They're gonna take care of everything.
Do you think the parents are going to be okay?
I do. They were unconscious but intact.
Poor thing. This must be terrifying.
At least she found her way to someplace safe.
I think she's not the only one.
Hun.
I mean it. I'm sorry about your mother. I'm sorry
You didn't know.
Anyway, I'm glad we're here.
Me too. Actually, I've got a Christmas story. The first time my mom got sick, I was in college. She told me the day after Christmas. Nothing really ever changes, does it? I was so upset and so scared, and I just had to get out. I ended up right here as Maxine was turning out the lights. I mean, I crashed through the door right before she locked it, and she made me a grilled cheese. They really are the best. And she sat up with me with what felt like hours. And I knew that somehow, whatever was about to happen, we were going to make it.
We're going to make it this time too.
I think we will. Hey, what about you, Professor? I'm sure you have some positive Christmas story you can tell.
Fair enough. There are benefits to spending Christmas on your own. You save a bunch of money on presents. It's quiet and it's peaceful And traveling on Christmas, that's the best. There were a lot of years where I'd just pick a place to go on Christmas. It's cheaper if you travel on Christmas Day, and everyone's a lot stressed than they were the day before. One year, I flew to Hawaii. They played Malay Kalikimaka the whole time, and I wore this red and green Hawaiian shirt. The best part was showing up to work with a tan. Everyone else was fat and exhausted. I don't mind inspiring jealousy every now and then.
But you don't travel on Christmas anymore?
I don't. I guess I figured it was better to be here.
Somebody here worth staying home for?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
The kitchen door swings open and Maxine enters.
Hey, everybody, look who's here.
She points to the door. Nothing happens.
Look who's here.
Nothing. Maxine moves back to the door and yells into the kitchen.
Get your ass out here, fat man.
Gary enters wearing the Santa suit. Andrew follows him.
Say it.
Ho, ho, ho.
Santa!
Well, look at that.
Looking good.
Keep it up, and it's coal for all of you.
Are you the real Santa?
Everyone is stunned.
Well, what do you think?
No.
Smart girl.
Well, why not?
The real Santa's busy delivering toys.
Yeah, it's Christmas Eve.
Maybe I just stopped by to see my friends.
Where's the bag of toys?
In the sleigh,
Where are your reindeers?
circling the block.
It's tough to park a sleigh downtown.
You're not the real Santa.
No. Sorry.
He's one of Santa's helpers, like at the mall.
What's the mall?
Oh, Lord.
Do you know where my mom and dad are?
No. But the sheriff here does.
You were in a car accident. They got hurt and we took them to the hospital. But they're going to be okay. I can take you to them.
Would that be okay? Can the sheriff take you to the hospital to see your parents?
After a moment, the girl nods and takes Paula's hand.
Thank God.
Wait.
Jerry gets the girl's shoe, bends down, and puts it on her foot.
There you go. You don't want to forget that.
Paula leads the girl out.
Thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Santa.
Merry Christmas.
Paula and the girl exit.
Wow.
Well done, old man.
Thanks. Now, delete those photos I knew you took.
You know I'm not going to do that.
The judge's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
What the hell? You're right. Who wants to sit on my lap and tell me what they want for Christmas?
Nobody wants to do that. You dirty old man.
Why not? Santa's here and it's Christmas Eve.
Sarah sits on Jerry's lap.
I want, let's see, I want a new car and a pony. And for Dr. Carver not to be disappointed in me.
I don't know about that last one.
I'm not disappointed.
I am.
Yeah, I didn't even bother asking for that.
Let me try.
Sarah stands and Andrew sits on Jerry's lap.
I want a first edition of the Westminster Confession of Faith. Ticket to Britney Spears' Vegas residency. Oh, and I'll take a cartoon.
Boy's got some range.
That's all you want?
That's it.
Okay, my turn.
Andrew stands and Scott sits on Jerry's lap.
I want a chaotic family Christmas.
Scott.
That I can do.
Clearly.
All right, Maxine, your turn.
I knew this was some elaborate plan to get me to sit on your lap.
Go ahead, Maxine.
Fine.
Scott stands and Maxine sits on Jerry's lap.
I want someone to clean up the grease traps. Since you're giving out cars, I'll take one of those. And I want my own show on Food Network.
You got it. We'll call it My Adventures in Food Poisoning. It'll be a hit.
Oh, one more. I want a certain judge to man up.
We're going to blow right past subtext, huh?
I'm sitting on your lap, Santa. It's a little late for subtext.
One more. Johnathan, you go.
Maxine stands up and points to Jerry's lap.
Come on, Professor. What do you want for Christmas?
A second chance.
I don't think I can give you that.
I might be able to.
Not sitting on my lap, you won't.
This was some good thinking, Santa and all.
Well, I figure what's the good of hauling a Santa suit around town if you're not going to put it to use?
You're incredible, you know that.
Stop.
No, it's Christmas Eve, and I've been an idiot, but I'm thankful to have you in my life.
Well, thank you.
And maybe self-pity's the only thing I've known how to feel. But I guess I can try for something else.
I could be in for that.
There's a pause. It looks like one of them might make a move, but nothing happens.
Okay, that's it.
Jerry crosses over to Andrew.
Hey, this is Johnathan. He's cute, right? I mean, even I can see that, and I don't even go for that sort of thing. But I'd imagine that if I did go for that sort of thing, he's the sort of thing I'd go for.
What is happening right now?
And sure, he's a bit of a fixer-upper, kind of a jerk to those he cares about, pushes folks away and all that. But the fact is, I've known him for a long time now, and this is the closest he's gotten to letting anybody in. And I figure that's worth a lot. Am I wrong?
No.
I rarely am. And this is Andrew. He's not so bad looking himself, and of course, I'm partial to a man in a robe. And this is the important part. He's, for some reason, into you. And you will, I cannot reiterate this enough, never find anyone better. So?
Yes?
You?
Yes?
Good. Now kiss.
What? No.
Not here.
Sorry. That's a direct order from Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. Kiss.
Johnathan and Andrew shrug, roll their eyes, but then they kiss. The entire bar bursts into applause.
Hallelujah.
Merry Christmas.
Did we just get married?
You want to? We could do that now, too.
One step at a time?
So you're solving problems now?
I create them, I solve them. It's the holidays.
Well, then what's next?
You are. Come here.
What?
Tell me why you're not in school this semester.
I didn't like it.
No, that's not it.
I wasn't good at it.
We're going to try one more time. And remember, young lady, that I spot BS professionally.
Oh, well, in that case, they had to shut down the school this semester. They discovered a portal to hell in the basement, and it's going to take a long time to get that one cleaned up.
A gas leak was slowly turning students into zombies.
Okay, folks, we're not piling on, not this time.
Just one more, can I?
Don't think I can stop you.
Aliens.
That's what you've got.
That's what I've got. Aliens.
Worth it.
We're all done.
Scott starts to speak.
That wasn't a question. So what's really going on?
I was almost bad at it, barely hanging on in some of those classes, and they're just going to get harder. And what if I actually can't do it? What if I'm actually not smart enough? And I'm going to have to come back here and tell everybody that I failed, and they're just going to feel sorry for me. But if I quit, everyone's just mad at me, and I can't handle mad. Or I can handle mad.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Really?
No. Listen up, little girl. You've got skills, real skills. You're smart, you're kind, and you're one of the 2 hardest working women I know. And you're scared. Yeah, I get that. But I'll be damned if I'm going to let scared win.
Look, I meant it when I said you were one of the best students in class last semester. You want to know why?
I always figured it was because I knew how you liked your whiskey.
That's close. Actually, it's because of Maxine's, but not because of the drinks. It's because I would sit here and I'd watch you with a textbook and a notebook over in the corner, and any spare moment you got, you'd be studying.
You were doing your homework on the job?
I'm sorry.
Keep it up. This way I won't have to cut your hours.
You work so hard, Sarah, harder than anybody else in that class. That's what makes you one of the best.
What happens when it gets harder?
You get tougher.
You've done it before?
I know it seems like fear leads to safety, but it doesn't. The only place fear leads to is regret. And regret's the worst place to be.
Everyone looks at Jerry.
What? Everyone gets to be wise here except me?
Look, let's just worry about this next semester, okay? You take this one, you make it through, and then we worry about the next one at a time.
Santa commands it.
It's a good thing Christmas only comes once a year. This shtick is gonna get old fast.
Making full use of it as long as I can.
Okay.
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 Maxine sets the laptop down in front of Sarah.
Here, go ahead and register.
Can you help me pick out some classes?
Of course. I know a pretty good English class you should take.
I hear the professor's cute too.
Thanks.
Johnathan and Sarah huddle over the laptop, selecting her classes.
Want to go for 3, St. Nick?
Got to use that Christmas magic while it lasts.
Maxine and Jerry go over to Scott and Susan.
I'm sorry about your mother, and I'm sorry for what's to come. That's going to be hard on all of us. But no matter what, we're here for you.
Maxine nudges Jerry.
I'm sorry I got in the middle of it. That's not my place.
Well, I've never heard you admit that before.
Well, it's usually not my place.
It was killing me not telling you, you know.
I know. I'm sorry I kept pushing.
Well, I guess I figured you pushed because you care.
I push because I care. I need to embroider that and hang it over the bar.
I'm sorry we're missing the perfect family Christmas.
I am too, but only because of why we're missing it.
I'm pretty scared about what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I get that. But we'll figure it out together.
Together.
Let's go home to your mom's.
Yeah. To the chaos.
To the chaos. Besides, it's gotta be calmer than this crew anyways.
Yeah. Let's go home.
Scott and Susan get up and start to put on their coats and dress for the outside. Most everyone else waves and says goodbye. Maxine comes over and gives Susan a hug.
I mean it. Anything you need. And when the time comes, don't worry about the food. We'll send it along.
Come on, Maxine. Haven't they been through enough?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
And Merry Christmas.
Scott and Susan exit. A moment falls over the bar and grill.
Well, Santa, any more Christmas miracles up your sleeve?
Maybe just one, but that's for later.
Big talk from a man who only works one night a year.
Well, that's my cue. Gotta get back for the late service.
Maybe I could come too.
I'd like that. And maybe lunch with my family tomorrow? If you want, no pressure.
Let's see how it goes with Jesus tonight, and then we can see about your family tomorrow.
Fair enough.
They prepare to leave.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. See you in class.
See you there.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Maxine. Merry Christmas, Your Honor. And thank you, both.
Andrew and Johnathan exit.
Oh, Sarah, why don't you head on home too? I'll close up.
Are you sure?
Go on. Your dad's probably got the house all lit up. You want to be there for that.
I do. Thanks, Max.
Sarah puts her coat on and starts to unplug the Christmas tree.
Leave that on a bit. Still a couple of hours till Christmas.
Sarah comes around and wraps Maxine in a big hug.
Merry Christmas, Aunt Maxine.
Merry Christmas, darling.
Sarah heads for the door, but at the last moment, she turns back to the laptop and picks out a song to play. A classic Christmas song sung by one of the crooners begins to play throughout the bar. She turns the light out, leaving Maxine and Jerry illuminated by the Christmas tree. Sarah exits.
Well,
You're a small miracle. You know that, Maxine?
nobody's called me small anything in a long time.
You're right. You're a big wonder. That's what you are.
And you're an old fool.
Have been for a long time. Long enough that I'm wondering if it's time to try something other than regret.
Well, you know, nobody asked what you wanted for Christmas.
How about a dance?
How about it?
Jerry takes Maxine in his arms and they begin to dance to the music. The lights slowly dim. Blackout. The end.
Great job, everybody. If I could have all actors back on stage, please. All actors back on stage along with our playwright, John Mark Day. Wonderful job, everybody. All right, Facebook land, get those emojis out and give this wonderful cast a fabulous round of applause. Great job, everybody. Great job.
Yay.
I want to say thank you to all the people that joined us out there tonight on Facebook. I also want to say thank you to this very talented cast. I'm so appreciative to all of you. And most importantly, a big thank you to our playwright, John Mark Day, for letting us share this story. John Mark, any final words for Facebook land or the cast and crew?
No, thank you all. This was so awesome. Such a treat to get to watch this, and I hope everybody out there had a great time.
Awesome. All right, folks, that concludes it for this week's original work series. We got one more for you next Thursday, and it's a musical, so tune in. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Jump on over to YouTube as well. We've got a brand new YouTube channel with all kinds of quarantine content. This show will be up tomorrow, so make sure you tell all your friends. From all of us at the Arts Center and all of us from the cast of Aunt Maxine's Roadside Bar and Grill, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you again real soon. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Take care of each other, please. Good night, everybody.